Bray is a fraud. So
Bray is a fraud. Why is Bray a fraud, my friend? Why are we
he's
saying
not
these
here.
things? He's not here. Right, I see. Okay.
That's the intro.
I threatened him with getting Stellas out as well, and he still didn't come in.
Oh well, he must be doing something serious then, because that's some threat, that is.
And there we go. That's the intro right there.
All right. Welcome to the RadsCast, boys.
All right, so welcome back to another episode of RadsCast. As you can see, slightly different setup. Actually, return for our good friend Kaen. As you can see, he's used to disappointment as a lower league supporter, as a Carlisle fan. But we share pain. Well, we're probably going to see this Tuesday, but we're recording this Monday. Yesterday, we shared pain with England losing in the Euro final. We just thought it was only right we spoke about it and just the whole tournament, because even though it was disappointing, it was still quite an incredible month of football, really, wasn't it? Just in general. So we're just going to basically go with the flow here. So let us know what you think in the comments below. I have a pretty good idea, if you're English, what you're going through. What's your general thoughts, lads, after that?
I think, obviously, on the night that we lost the final, the emotions were running high. We obviously everyone very disappointed that we lost, but I think that eventually it'll come around to everyone that this tournament can only be seen as a monumentous achievement.
Absolutely.
Getting to the final is something that was absolutely unheard of till Gareth Southgate came about and got to the semi-finals back in 2018. That actually gave us hope, and we actually made it to the finals this time round. And an international final for England it's fabled stuff. You know, you never think that you're going to see it, and then it happened. And I think looking back on that, you know, however old I am, when I look back on the Euros of 2020, I'll remember, 2021, Euro 2020, I'll remember that we got to the final, and we might never get to a final again. You just don't know what's going to happen. So nights like last night, you can't take for granted. The fact we were there in the first place is something that I feel like I've seen a few people taken for granted, that were people who were angry that we didn't win. And I get the frustration, because you're always going to be like that when you lose a football match. But I think the main emotion with all English people after this should be pride. And I think if anyone isn't proud of what we've done, I don't know what more they want, really.
Totally. Yeah, absolutely. See what else, what do you think about it, Woods? Pretty much the same, really, isn't it? I
guess.
Yeah, I think everyone's got to be proud of how far we've come. Especially, you think at the start of this tournament, I think everyone expected us, get semi-finals, probably get knocked out again, but going that one step further and getting to the finals is even more than we could have asked for, realistically. This is it is, as Kaen said, monumental for us. So,
we took it as far as it could go as well, like all the way to penalties.
Yeah.
And you just knew with England that would be how it would end.
Yeah.
And I mean, we can talk about the penalties. It was it started very well, and it just couldn't really have gone any worse in the end. But overall, we can't give them stick like a small minority of people have done, which is disgusting, quite frankly.
Yeah, it is.
There's not really much we can say about that kind of thing, but
no, it just shouldn't be happening, should it? Really, it shouldn't be a part of football.
All. No. And I think we can talk about Saka, really, because everyone's saying he's 19, he shouldn't have been in that position. But I mean, what do you think of it? If you think if he wanted to take the penalty, he should be allowed to do that?
The thing is, though, we'll never be sure if it was his request to take the penalty, because I think we saw Southgate giving the order out of who he wanted to take the penalties. But I do see it as a bizarre choice, and I'm not going to try and lump anything on Southgate, because obviously he's got us to this position in the first place, which is something that should be heralded as, heroic. But I do think it's a bizarre choice to put 19-year-old Bukayo Saka, someone who has never taken a penalty in his senior career, against in a game as big as this, literally the biggest penalty in this country's history for the past 55 years. And especially against a keeper like Gianluigi Donnarumma, who's like 6'4", 6'5", a 68% penalty save record, which is something I saw yesterday, which is absolutely ludicrous for any keeper. to have a 68% record where as a keeper, you shouldn't be saving penalties. You genuinely, that's not something that should be happening. I think the pressure was just increased on Saka by that, and someone of his age, he's a few years older than me. He's the same age as you there, but it's like you've got to be thinking what's going through his head going up to that, what's going through his head after it, and surely it can't be helped by all the people on social media, that are slating him for it.
Especially as well when you realise that just to make even more pressure on him, the two lads before him missed as well. So, the
spirits weren't exactly high.
Yeah, and he had to score that penalty, and it was just bad luck, quite frankly, and that's what penalties is. It's just a lottery, it's literally pot luck, and you have to feel incredibly sorry for him, especially with what he's had to put up with since, which not really a surprise knowing this the mentality of people.
And it's sad that we can actually say that it's not a surprise, because it shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be something you expect. But I was around my mate's house last night watching that game, and as soon as that penalty missed, after we kind of got over the whole stress, we've been sitting down just in tears for 10 minutes, and once we'd got past that stage, we were like, I looked on Instagram, and the first thing I saw was a post saying, "This is Bukayo Saka's Instagram comments," and it's just disgusting racial hatred and abuse. And the fact that I expected that, I think, says a lot, probably, about the way football has gone and the way society as a whole is going at the minute. And it obviously, football, racism shouldn't only not be in football, but it shouldn't be, in any part of society, really. But the fact that we have let it get into a game that we call the beautiful game is, a bit ironic, really.
Yeah. I just think this is why so many people wanted England to lose, because they already don't like us as it is. But the small minority of England fans just
give us all a bad name.
They back that up well and truly with the racism, and then there was fighting outside Wembley and that.
Yeah, I saw that as well. That's gross.
And you wonder why people don't like us.
Well, obviously, I think. I'm sorry to interrupt, but obviously, I don't really agree with the generalization of all England fans being like the ones that are shown with the the racial. Obviously, the majority of the England fan base condemn the actions of those last night and find them absolutely abhorrent, if anything. And totally. I don't appreciate that some people make those generalizations, but at the end of the day, you can't really blame them because some people are just misinformed. But if there anyone that does watch this podcast that is, from a foreign country, I'm sure you probably do have some viewers overseas. If there's 1.5k of them, there's got to be some. Most England fans condemn what happened yesterday. I'd say 99.9% would never do anything like that. And any of them that do should be ashamed of themselves, and they shouldn't be able to call themselves England supporters because they're not supporting the team at all. They're just being disgusting racists. Yeah. Simple as.
They're not real football fans. They weren't there to truly support the team. They were just, okay, Saka missed, Rashford, Sancho, we'll just go and give him a load of stick, and it's
just what happens. People just
so much more,
people forget that it's just football, really. And I mean, as much as I love football, I've been going to football matches since I can remember, and I love the game. It's like at the end of the day, it is a game, and although it is, many people see it as a way of life, so do I. At the end of the day, it is a sport. It shouldn't be something that results to this kind of abuse that people get. And also, I'm sure it might be a bit of a touchy subject, but there's other things as well, like abuse towards partners as well goes up when England lose, and I think that is also something that is just pathetic, that people decide to turn to violence. Not only on the partners, obviously random people, like you just mentioned about the violence outside Wembley. The fact that people can take something that's meant to be loved and adored by so many people and turn it into this violent thing, and this violent spectacle, speaks volumes more about those people really than the general fan base of football. It's embarrassing on the rest of us.
I mean, we'll talk about the whole tournament in a moment, but I think we should just talk about the actual game with all the penalties. I mean, I feel we should let Woods talk a bit because he's not spoken for a while.
Of course.
Woods is here, by the way, everyone. Obviously we took the lead early on, which was, I couldn't believe it, quite frankly. You just kind of had a feeling you kind of knew the way it was going, really, because I think Italy, they just kept wearing us out.
Definitely the better team.
And they were just, I think we should have attacked more, quite frankly, at times. Yeah, I think, what do you make of like the actual game itself before the penalties?
The entire tournament, we've only conceded two goals without it being penalties. The entire tournament. So that proves how well Pickford were playing. All of them was actually playing was really good. But I think what let us down, you can't really blame it on any of the players. I think because as a whole, they just seemed like a unit. It wasn't just players playing for each other. Like I think the team with Gerrard and all of them, there was reports that they weren't actually a team.
Yeah.
They were just playing for themselves.
So that's one of the things I like about this team way more than so many before this, because they generally like are friends and they get on. And there's many teams before that didn't do that.
Yeah, and I think, you know what, I think a lot of that goes down to Gareth Southgate, because he seems like a very affectionate, compassionate man when it comes to football. And I think he's probably, leading up to this tournament, even before, we started the group stages, I think he's probably been one of the main catalysts why these lads get along so well. Because the amount of talks he's probably had with them about, look, we're a team, we need to play for each other, we need to play for the fans. And obviously the whole recent thing with COVID and stuff like that, I think those three factors coming together is definitely what's made these players play for the fans as well. And these players do definitely seem the most in tune with the fans, whether that's because they're younger and it's like a younger team or what, but they always throughout the whole tournament, no matter what the results were, always seem to put the fans first and always seem to play for the fans. And I think that's kind of, we need to respect them for that, even after the tournament's done and even after we've lost in the final.
Yeah. I think you mentioned it there about how young this team is, and the fact that we've managed to get to a final before, a lot of other teams have been hyped up. Like I mentioned Belgium in the past, they've been hyped up from quite a few tournaments. And they haven't got even close to they got to the World Cup semis, didn't they? But other than that, that's about it. The first time England are like truly hyped up, we get to a final. And I think that has to be quite a huge threat.
It has to be a note for the future, doesn't it, really? Especially with the young team. I think the message I give to England fans who might be feeling a bit down in the dumps at the moment, as we all are, this is only the beginning. The majority of that team are late teens, early 20s. Obviously, they've got the odd one like Kyle Walker's, I think he's like 28 or something like that.
Yeah,
Harry Kane's 27. We might only be able to get one or two more tournaments out of those lads. But then you've got players like your Phil Fordens, your Jack Grealish's, your Bukayo Saka's, your Rashford, your Sancho's. I could go on about the abundance of young talent that we have. And I think that just has to be a note for the future that we shouldn't feel too upset about it. Because I think in the past, when England teams have lost, a lot of the players have been in their prime and we think, oh, well, that's the end then. Next time an international tournament comes around, they'll be retired or they'll be past it. Now, we've still got a lot of those players waiting on their primes and they're already incredible. So this is definitely something to more be hopeful about, I think, than to kind of more dwell on the past, but to look to the future.
Definitely. All right. I think it's weird, really, because it's the first time that we would have known our team in a final of any the club or country. And I thought Italy probably would win, but I had a feeling England would as well, because obviously I wanted us to.
Yeah.
But I just thought, wait, will we actually win? Because you just think, no, this doesn't normally happen. I'm not used to this.
There's always a party, though, isn't there?
Oh, yeah.
The next leg.
Yeah, it's just crazy, really. I just think the next few tournaments, even if we don't win it, we'll be up there. You think, and we can actually go to tournaments excited to see what's going to happen. And I think a lot of people criticize Southgate for being too defensive and negative, but he's really picky right now. Isn't it?
If it gets us to finals, then
exactly.
I'm not going to go against it. If it gets us to finals and semi-finals, it's better than losing to Iceland.
Yeah, we've come such a long way. That's like you say, Iceland, there was Brazil, obviously, which was terrible.
Yeah, I don't like talking about 2014.
Yeah,
honestly.
Literally. There's so many tournaments which were just that embarrassing. And now they've had 2 in a row of huge progress. So,
exactly.
Yeah, crazy. It's one of the best spells in our history, really. So
certainly.
You also think what Sir Alex Ferguson said: attack wins your games, defense wins your titles.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, totally.
So
So the defensive mindset might be the way to go about it. You're right, yeah. Especially with the defenders we have, like Luke Shaw. I'm going to go on a limb and say best left back in the world. That might be English bias speaking, I'm not sure. But I do believe that Luke Shaw is the best left back on the planet at the minute in terms of current performances in the last season. Of course, there might be players who just in ability are better, but I think based on his last season and his performance at this tournament, probably the best left back in the world. Harry Maguire, John Stones, two amazing centre backs, especially for the country. They always seem to turn up for England. And then, of course, we've got an abundance of right back options. Trent Alexander-Arnold, I think, is obviously because he didn't come to this tournament because of his injury, unfortunately for him. I think he's been overlooked. Obviously, Trent Alexander-Arnold is another one of those incredible young players that we could take into the future. But even if something does happen again where he gets injured, we've got Kyle Walker, we've got Kieran Trippier, two very capable right backs. I think the defence is probably one of the strongest attributes of this team, and I think that's probably why Gareth Southgate chooses to chooses to use it to the extent that he does.
I think Woods is. I think he probably will be back at some stage. I don't know where he's gone.
I don't even know if he's gone. Has he gone?
He's still here, but he's muted. We're doing this on Zoom.
I see. Okay. All right.
So yeah, me and Kaen will just carry on for now. But
yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Anyway, still moving on. I think we mentioned there about Trent. Like he wasn't even in this squad, and we don't even.
No.
It doesn't even feel like we missed him that much.
No, because I think that brought a lot of worry, didn't it, among the fans? A lot of worry about missing Trent, but it's like we've got capable options now. It's weird to say that. Like we have an abundance of capable options, which you don't normally have for a national team.
Yeah, and Trippier was fantastic this tournament.
Oh yeah, Trippier was impeccable. Like when he played, he was really good.
Yeah, he played left back against Croatia as well. So
he had
both sides,
and he adapted really well. Yeah.
Yeah, Walker can play in centre half and the right back. Yeah. So we've got lots of players that can play multiple positions. There's
versatility as well.
Yeah, Reece James as well. It didn't really play much, but it's yet another option. I mean, I think really fully fit. You do pick Trent regardless.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, but
it's the passing, isn't it, of Trent that puts him up there. His passing range, which is really good.
When you look at the team on paper, it's not really a surprise we got to the final when you think about it.
But I guess football isn't played on paper, is it? It's played on the pitch. And I think that's something people forget.
Yeah, totally. But then again, no one thought we would get there because we're England and we had to do that.
Notorious bottle jobs, didn't we?
Yeah, literally. I mean, yesterday was, regardless, it was a bottle job because we took the lead and we bottled a penalty shootout when we were winning.
We had the advantage 2 times on 2 occasions. I saw Mark Goldberg's tweet about that and he said it hurts the most because we had the advantage twice and we did. And we didn't really go anywhere with it. But I think, like I said earlier, the fact we even got to the final should be an achievement because, like you said, on paper, we probably should have got to the finals anyway. But football, like I said, it's not played on paper, it's played on grass. And 99% of football is judged on those moments of magic, like Trippier's free kick against Croatia, the moment of magic that gave everyone hope. Luke Shaw's early goal was a moment of magic. Italy's defence was switched off. They weren't expecting us to attack as early as we did because we have this reputation of being defensive. It's these moments, or the ball bouncing a certain way, or someone missing a kick, or someone passing left instead of right. Those little moments that decide games. So I think that's what brings some of the frustration. People are saying like, "Oh, well, we have such a good team. Why didn't we win it?" Italy have a great team on paper, and we just didn't get the rub of the green that day. They were the better team. I'll be happy to say, I'll be happy to say the better team won. But there was moments where we could have got through. There was 2 defenders, but we went the wrong way, or we passed back, and that's just what happens.
Because that's something we do way too much, isn't it? We pass back to the goalie when we should be going
sideways
forward.
Passing, backward passing, pretty much.
My dad actually calls it crab football quite a lot.
I don't blame him. He's right.
Yeah, it's true. And I just felt, particularly yesterday against Italy, there was too many times where, I know you're playing Italy, but there was several times we just had to attack and we weren't doing that. And we were just
sometimes we just didn't take the risks.
Yeah,
we didn't take the risks. That's what it was.
And when Italy had the ball, we weren't really like urgently trying to get it off them.
No, we were kind of just sitting back, hoping that the shot and we could block it, and then do the same thing we always do: either hoof it up or pass back and left and right, pass back to the keeper.
And
can I just speak on the keeper for a moment, actually? Because I think Jordan Pickford is someone who, throughout this entire tournament, I mean, everyone's praised him for, he had the most clean sheets, and while that is an incredible achievement, I think the praise should go deeper than that. The fact that he's had the seasons he's had at Everton, where, let's be honest, he hasn't played to the peak of his powers and he has made mistakes. The fact that he's came off the back of those two really lackluster seasons to his standard, a World Cup semi-finalist, Premier League goalkeeper. The fact he's came off those two seasons and had probably the best goalkeeping display of any keeper in that tournament, bar maybe Donnarumma, if we're being unbiased, I'd say is absolutely incredible. And I might be a bit biased to Pickford because he did play for Carlisle at a point on loan, and that might just be my Carlisle bias speaking. But genuinely, he'd be my player of the tournament, in my personal opinion, because there were times where we could have gone out. I think Muller's miss, while also down to him, it was also, if you watch Pickford, he made himself big and he made himself imposing on Thomas Muller when he was burning down on goal. And I think that's also what put him off a bit. I think without Jordan Pickford, I think although Nick Pope's tall and he has good attributes, I don't think he would have done what Jordan Pickford did at this Euros. And a few people might not like that, but I do feel like no other keeper, Dean Henderson, Jordan Pickford, whoever it may be, could have done. Sorry, not Jordan Pickford, Dean Henderson, Nick Pope, whoever it could have been, could do what Jordan Pickford did. Jordan Pickford did more than what was asked of him. He saved 2 penalties. Brilliant. You're not meant to say. It's like I said with Donnarumma. You're not meant to save penalties as keepers. It should be an easy goal for the attacker. But the fact that he saved 2 penalties, and in the way that he did, saving against Jorginho, of anyone, a man who hasn't missed a single penalty this competition, a man that scored 6 penalties for Chelsea in the Premier League season, and he waited for the step, he called his bluff, and he saved it with ease. There's a clip where before Jorginho takes the penalty, it's zoomed in on his face, and you see him talking to himself, and people have lip read it. It seems like he says something along the lines of, "It's fine, no problem." He was sure of himself. He knew what happens, and it went his way. And I think he's the only keeper that we have that has that mentality of, it is what it is. I'm just going to do my best, and I'm going to play for the badge, and I'm going to play at the best of my abilities. And he does that every single time we see him in an England shirt. And I just don't think he gets enough respect for that.
He's fantastic. And we said as well, obviously the club level, he really wasn't at his best, but he just is a completely different player when it comes to England.
He's one of them where he just turns up for England. Yeah,
and I hope for his sake and for Everton's, he keeps going with them this season. But
I think he will, I think this has definitely given him a bit more of a kick than the semi-final did. Because obviously the way we went out the semi-final, it was lost by that second goal in extra time. But he went all the way to penalties this time, and it was on his shoulders, that pressure, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that will really help him out this season, hopefully, for his sake, and like you said, for Everton.
I mean, we've spoken about the defence mainly, haven't we? But I think we'll just talk a bit more about the team, like midfield. Obviously, I had Rice and Phillips
and Rice, man. Honestly,
I don't think anyone thought
they're insane.
I don't think anyone thought that they'll be like our midfield partnership.
Yeah, man, genuinely. Ever. I think without Henderson, I think that was once again one of the worries. We've not got Henderson. He's a leader for Liverpool, a Premier League winning team, and also a very good player. But Phillips and Rice is 21, Phillips is 23, and they're putting that shift. Are you mad? Are you mental?
Literally, Phillips was in the Championship less than a year ago.
Yeah, exactly.
And now he's played every game for England.
He's given us the EFL boys a good name.
Yeah.
Most of the England team came from an EFL academy or an EFL club, which I also think is mental.
Yeah.
But Phillips and Rice are absolutely insane.
Now he's played literally every game for England at a major tournament.
Yeah. And even against Italy, when we were getting battered, I didn't see much of the threat come from the midfield. It was the wing backs for me, and it was the wing backs and the wingers into Chiesa. That's what brought the threat. But Barella and Jorginho were silent against us, thanks to Phillips and Rice's impeccable work rate. And I think, although I think we got battered second half, if we're being honest, we got battered. I think that's the hardest I've seen a team our team work this whole tournament. And that's the hardest I've seen Phillips and Rice work all tournament. Every loose pass, maybe he's back. There you go. Every loose pass they got to, or proper push shifted to get to. Every duel they had, they put everything into it. You could tell. At the end, you could see how much they cared. Declan Rice was in tears. Calvin Phillips, with his head in his hands, as did the whole team. It shows how much they cared about that. And Phillips and Rice are, I think, our unsung heroes of this tournament. They're absolutely incredible.
I think a lot of people also criticise the fact that we didn't play enough attacking players at times. Like we weren't playing Grealish or we weren't playing Mount or Foden.
Southgate's decision to work criticised a fair bit.
Yeah, and I do understand that at times, and I do think there was a few times where we should have brought on an attacking player much earlier than we did.
Oh, certainly, yeah.
And then, like Grealish, he played against the Czech Republic and he got an assist within 11 minutes.
Yeah.
He came on against
Germany.
I
do think Grealish should have started more, but what can you do, really?
I think if Grealish, I saw a few other people say this on Twitter and that, if he played as much as Mount did, probably would have...
he should have played over Mount, I think. Mount was, I'll be honest, he was invisible in the final. And I don't like going after players, but he was. I didn't see anything positive come from Mason Mount. There was one moment where he notably got the ball and there was options on and he just didn't make anything of it. And I'm thinking, well, you're a Champions League winning midfielder for Chelsea. You should be, probably doing a bit more than that, Learn from your Chelsea teammates, learn from Jorginho, who's been a massive impact for his team. Do that for us. But Grealish probably should have definitely started. And I think he actually probably should have took the penalty as well instead of Saka being Villa's penalty taker. But I'm not going to go back to talking about the penalties because, we've done that.
With the penalties, though, Grealish came out and said he did volunteer for a penalty.
Yeah, I saw that on Twitter,
I don't really know whether it was Southgate's choice just to leave him out on penalties. And even then...
Yeah. And I think even in that tweet, Grealish even backed Southgate up, didn't he? He was like, the gaffer's made a lot of good choices and tonight he made more of those good choices. I think it was more just his anger at people accusing him of not stepping up because obviously he's a bit of a cocky lad. He's a bit of a personality. He doesn't want people to be claiming that he didn't step up for that penalty because he has a lot of bravado about him and a lot of character. And that would suggest he did step up to take one of those. And I think Southgate probably should have let him, but you can't really change it now. It's all happened. But I think Grealish probably would have scored his penalty given that he took one.
Yeah.
I think we mentioned Foden. I'm kind of surprised he didn't play more than he did. To be fair.
Yeah.
And again, I think that just proves just how good this side is.
The abundance of talent.
Phil Foden hardly gets a look in, and I think he was injured for the final, but
well, when he played against Ukraine, not against Ukraine, sorry, when he played against Denmark, he looked all right when he came on. But you see, at the start of the tournament, before all started, I said I wouldn't put Phil Foden in my starting 11, and I got a fair amount of backlash for that. Most of the comments on that video were about a bit of a bizarre choice not to start Foden, and I get that in hindsight. But look, without him, we got to the finals, and I'm not going to turn this into I'm right. Look at me. But I am, because I was right. Look at me, I said that. And I think England's definitely about systems, but I just didn't think Foden worked with the system we were using. But I do think if we played Phil Foden more, he definitely would have had a big impact on the team. But it's like you said, we have that abundance of talent. You just don't know who's going to turn up. You don't know who we're going to play because there's that many good players.
We've been working our way up the team slowly but surely. Obviously, the final positions up the attacking mind of the forwards.
Yeah,
I think we have to talk about Raheem Sterling, really, don't we?
Yeah, got to.
A lot of people went for his head, even when he was scoring goals. He scored 3 goals. People were still saying, "Oh, I wouldn't play Sterling." And I think even I at first was thinking probably wouldn't start him, but
me neither.
He proved us all wrong quite. Yeah, especially when he didn't really have the best season at club level either.
No. It's definitely one of his worst seasons for City, I think.
Yeah. But yeah, he really did cause trouble non-stop.
Yeah, definitely.
And obviously we mentioned Saka already. I'm surprised that he played as much as he did, but I think he did really well.
He really did impress when he did, yeah. And I think that it's harsh that obviously the most memorable moment of his campaign is going to be that missed penalty because I think that overshadows the amazing work that he's done throughout the tournament. He created that goal against Denmark, the one where he crossed it in. Obviously, it came off of Simon Kjær, but he started all that. He made that run in, and he got the ball into the box, which is ultimately what put that ball in the back of the net at the time. So yeah, I do think he goes overlooked, and I think because of that penalty, obviously, that's gonna be the main focal point that everyone's gonna talk about. But yeah, Bukayo Saka definitely one of the more underrated players. I think the Sky Sports give him a 10 on the player rating. I think I saw a tweet about it. Sky Sports gave him a 10 on the player rating. just for the sheer courage of stepping up for that penalty. And to be fair, you've got to respect it, really. The fact that
Definitely.
a 19-year-old, like, I would be able to do that, if I was a 19-year-old in his shit, like, no way, I wouldn't step up for that pen. I'd try and put myself after the keeper, man. I don't have the courage to do that.
We've got so many players, haven't we? Sancho hardly even played that much, really.
And once again, it speaks volumes, doesn't it, really? The fact that Sancho, he got like 30 plus goal contributions in the Bundesliga this season and he didn't get a look in. It's mad.
Yeah. And like Rashford hardly really played at all.
Yeah.
As well.
And I think that's also, we should look into that for why he didn't score the penalty. Listen, he barely kicked the ball all tournament. I think you can't really blame him. He didn't kick the ball all tournament. That penalty, he was never going to be ready for it.
Yeah, he went
Southgate just lumped on the attacking players because he said, the attacking players must score the penalties. But look at Harry Maguire. He broke the flipping camera with his penalty.
Literally, that was just kind of funny.
We should have probably just stuck with what we had, really, for the penalty.
Yeah, literally a centre half blasted top corner.
Yeah,
and a forward,
centre half scored the best penalty of the tournament, pretty much.
And a forward, was a really weak penalty.
Yeah.
But that's football, isn't it?
It is. It's what happens.
And obviously, the only real striker we can talk about is Harry Kaen. He had an interesting tournament, didn't he? Really, a slow start, and he did get going, but I think
he was invisible in the final.
The final, he did very little.
I was going to say no, he was invisible.
Remember in the build-up to the goal, for sure, he played a really good ball to Trippier. I remember, but other than that, he really was a passenger at times.
But the thing is, though, I don't think that's down to Harry Kane. I think it is down to the defensive system England play. And I think with a more attacking mindset, he would have done better than he did at this tournament. Obviously, he scored 4 goals, 2 of them against Ukraine, 1 against Denmark, and the other against, it wasn't Czech Republic, that was Sterling. It was it Germany? It was Germany. He scored the second goal, I think. It was the header from Grealish's cross. But even though he scored 4 goals, I think if we played a more attacking setup, he would have scored way more. I think he would have scored 5 or 6. I think he would have got the outright golden boot if we played attacking football because he probably would have scored in each of his group stage games. But I think Harry Kane obviously is going to get a lot of stick, but he's a victim of his own success. The standards that he set for himself, Premier League golden boot winner, Premier League top assister in the same season at striker, that's obviously going to set high marks for you. But when you're playing in a different side with some players that you've not played with in a while, and you're playing a different defensive setup, and while Tottenham do play a defensive setup, he still has Son and Ali and players like that to pass through to him that know his style of play. Playing that defensive system definitely hasn't helped him at all. And although I am going to give him a bit of stick for maybe not turning up when we needed him, it isn't entirely his fault.
I think the best moment really was probably against Germany. Really, that got a lot of hype.
Yeah,
because I think just talk about that one.
I think after that game and after this tournament, we no longer fear the Germans in terms of football.
Yeah.
We know now that if we play them in the future, hey, we did it in 2020. 2021, we can do it again.
Yeah.
And especially that we did it in the fashion we did. We didn't hold back. We attacked when we needed to. It was one of the more attacking performances that we did show. We didn't scrape by. We were convincing. And obviously, if Muller scored, it probably would have been a whole different story, I think. And I'm not sure if this will be popular among other England fans because we are quite a naive fan base. I think if Muller scored that, we'd be gone in the round of 16. I think that would have given Germany the confidence they needed, and I think we would have gone out in extra time. But it didn't happen. That didn't happen. It was a different story. Muller missed.
Yeah,
that's definitely. It's either that or against Denmark for me, the best moment of this tournament.
And Denmark was a great result in the end, wasn't it? Winning at the time, but.
And I think even against Denmark, it was more like because we got to a final, really. It was more less that we won that game, but more that it was a semi-final and we won it. Like, that's the bigger thing about it.
Yeah. I think really we should talk about the amount of stick that England fans and England get because...
should we?
I don't know.
Mate, I'd love to speak about that. I'd love to.
Should just briefly mention it.
Everyone, we could do.
We just say it's coming home. Okay. And for such a long time, it was a joke. But
the song is about England not being able to win anything. And I don't think people realise that. They all think it's arrogance. It's not. It's a joke about how bad we are.
Yeah. Like,
it's about belief.
Yeah, go on.
It's about belief, faith, and how bad we are.
Exactly.
That's the whole song.
It's about believing in like an underperforming team, really, isn't it?
Literally. Right.
It's like I had so many. Right, I put out a tweet after the Germany game, where I made a bit of a snide comment on the Scots. I said the Scots can, such and such. I can't say it because I'm on your channel. You're family friendly.
Family friendly,
but,
PG.
I've said some choice words about the Scots, and I said we're going all the way. The moment, and I kid you not, the moment that penalty hit Donnarumma's hands, Twitter, at least 10 Scottish people have had that tweet bookmarked. Scroll through all the bloody bookmarks from that day, get to my tweet, quote tweet, go, oh, did it? Oh, well done. Ha ha ha, it's not going to. But I'm like, at the end of the day, and I'll say this right down the lens, I bet you now, as much money as you want, I'll bet me house, right? That in my lifetime, and as long as time continues, Scotland will never make it to a Euros final or a World Cups final. I know they won some Tim Pot international trophy a while back. Mate, Carlisle's trophy win in 2011 was bigger than that, mate. It's Scotland winning some Tim Pot international trophy back God knows when. I don't care about that. The Euros and the World Cup, that's what matters. And you're never going to win any of them. Simple as that.
Okay. I think I might have just lost.
And if they win, that clip might come back and bite me. But hey, listen, we take the 4 boys games again.
I think I might just have lost my Scotland subscribers if I've got any.
Sorry about that. I can only be 4 of them, can't they? It's
fine. Yes. I mean, there's not very much else we can say apart from it's been an incredible month of football, just overall.
It is.
Away from England. It's been amazing. I think we've all needed really after the pandemic and that. But yeah, we cannot at all be disappointed, of course, but it's got to be proud. That's all we can really do.
Yeah. I think the pride should outweigh the disappointment. We should be allowed to feel disappointed, but we should feel more pride than disappointment.
Totally. It's been memories we none of us will forget, really.
Exactly.
Just stumbled at the last hurdle, unfortunately. But, I think overall it's been an incredible tournament. So, thank you for coming on, Kaen. It's been good having you back.
Yeah, been a pleasure, mate. It's always a pleasure to come on
the channel. Yeah. By the way, go and subscribe to Kaen. I didn't even mention it at the start, but he has his own channel and stuff.
Go on, lads. Do it.
Very similar things to me. Just a thing that I used to do on my channel. Little game called FIFA.
Yeah. Bit of FIFA career mode. I do real football content. I've hung back on it a bit recently. I've done the England reactions, obviously, but hopefully now with the Carlisle United season ticket secured, we'll have matchday vlogs coming. So hopefully tune in for that. We've got 473 subscribers. We're currently almost at 500. So it would mean a lot if you guys could subscribe. Anyone that's watching this that isn't, check my stuff out. If you like it, then feel more than free to subscribe. You can always do it. Unsubscribe later if you don't like the content. Simple as.
Yeah. Definitely go and subscribe to. You know what? Go and subscribe to Woods as well, because you get a stream every 6 months on his channel.
Yeah. We had a chat on Woods' channel the other night. You see, it was brilliant. It was brilliant.
Definitely, yeah. And follow us all on Twitter. I'll put links below and that. So
good stuff.
Cheers for watching, and we'll see you very soon on RadsCast and another video.